Welcome back to Temporal Directive, the Star Trek fan podcast, rewatching the entire franchise in chronological order. I'm Gary.
And I'm Tom.
And this week, we're watching Star Trek Enterprise's The Crossing. Star Trek, the ultimate franchise. These are the podcasts of the Wakefield brothers. Their 16-year mission to watch every production, to seek out life lessons and new inspirations, to boldly watch like most fans have watched before. Hey Tom, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
That's good. What's been happening?
Not much. I bought a
Another
car.
quiet week. Oh, you bought a car.
I bought a car.
Tell me about
Yes.
your car.
It's an electric, all electric. So not a hybrid. It's all electric. You know, plug it in at a PowerPoint sort of thing.
Oh, that's cool. So when do you pick it up?
Wednesday. They already had one in stock.
Oh shit, that's all right.
Yeah,
that's good.
so it was really quick. So no, 2 or 3 month wait or anything like that. So I've got to go down on Wednesday, which will be because it's all the way down in Hobart. So
Yep.
we're going to go for a long drive and get it. And thankfully, electric cars these days can make it all the way back. So
Nice.
yeah, very exciting.
Fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
But other than that, not much. Just been trying to work out all the finances and all the paperwork and all that shit for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And work, obviously.
And work.
Yeah. How about you? What you been up to?
Just work, really. I haven't really done much else. I had to speak at a LGBT IQA plus Voices Against Family Violence
Oh, yeah?
forum seminar thing that was held on Thursday.
Yep.
So I had to speak at that. I got there not being a public speaker and not really
Yeah.
enjoying public speaking.
Yeah, I am aware.
And I turned the corner when I got in there and there's like this giant stage and
Oh, right.
like tables of 10, like 10 tables of 10. And I was like,
Oh.
I don't want to do this.
Just a couple of people?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, yeah, I think they ended up with between 80 and 90 people.
Yeah, right.
And overall, the event was really good, and I'm glad it happened because it's an important topic that doesn't get talked
absolutely.
about much. Anyway, it was valuable.
Yeah.
And I got out of my comfort zone and did some public speaking, which I try to avoid.
Yeah, nice.
So, you know.
It's always a good thing, really, when
Yeah.
you push yourself a little bit like that.
Oh, everyone always says you can't get better at something if you never do it. So,
Well, that's it. That's exactly right.
so I guess
You'll have to do more of it. That's what you're saying, right?
No, I don't know that that's what I'm saying. Maybe that is what I'm saying, but I don't know. We'll see
Yeah.
what happens.
Well, I'm sure you'll have more opportunities.
I don't want them. Anyway, no Trek news. We're still a couple of weeks away from the Strange New Worlds premiere.
Sooner the better.
I'm so eager for it. It's
I
so
know.
exciting. And we've got our special episodes coming up soon as well.
Yeah, which will be good.
That'll be fun. But let's get into this week's episode, shall we?
Okie dokie.
This week's episode is called The Crossing. Story by Rick Berman, Brannon Braga, and
Who?
I know, right? Who are these people?
I've never heard those names before.
And Andre Bormanis. We have heard his
Yes,
name many times as
definitely.
well. Teleplay by Rick Berman and Brannon Braga. Directed by David Livingston. Again, a very familiar name.
Yeah.
The air date for this episode was April the 2nd, 2003. And the IMDb synopsis. Are you ready for this one?
Oh, it's gonna be
extensive.
great. Yeah.
It's long.
Well,
Enterprise is held captive by non-corporeal beings who claim to be explorers. That's it.
that's great.
This episode was nominated for an Emmy Award.
For?
Outstanding special visual effects for a series.
See, you weren't going to get me this time. You got me last time.
So yes, let's go get some coffee and go watch it.
Alrighty.
And we're back from watching The Crossing. Well, Tom, first thoughts. What did you think?
That they needed the lollipop lady to hold up a sign saying "Stop! Don't bother." Is that...
I don't know that they have lollipop people in outside of Australia.
Don't they? Yeah, no, I'm sure they do.
They probably don't call them lollipop people. Or
No.
lollipop. They probably call them just crossing guards.
Crossing guards. Yeah, that's probable.
Yeah, but okay. So not a fan.
Well, it wasn't as terrible as some of the other episodes, but it wasn't great.
I think it's an improvement on at least the last one. Maybe not the last couple, but at least the last one.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't terrible. It was just one of those, again, where you're sort of like, it's been done so many times already. Like,
Yes.
or at least felt like it's been done so many times already. Like, there was nothing exciting about it, nothing unknown about it. Like, I don't know. It just felt stale. It's probably the best way to say it.
You could say that about this whole series.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much it, isn't it? And like the actors don't bring
think-
anything to it, and that's the thing I think that really annoys me as well. Like,
I think that's what's missing is that the characters are so dry.
Yeah.
Or so, I don't know. They don't have this warmth or energy or something. There's something missing from this cast
exactly
that we get from the other casts.
Yeah.
Because there's episodes just like this in Next Gen and DS9 and Voyager with non-corporeal beings taking over different people. Like, this is a story we've heard before.
Yeah.
And even in episodes that are boring or, like, underdeveloped or just are repetitive in the other series, the characters keep the story interesting and alive.
Yeah, exactly.
This is just going through the motions.
Yeah. Yep.
That's how it feels.
It really does, doesn't it? It's that real empty, like, you don't really care. Like, you just don't give a shit. Like, because they don't bring it. They just don't.
I don't know if that's the actor's fault or whether it's bad writing or whether it's a bit of everything, whether it's fatigue from the whole production staff because they've been doing this for so long. I don't know what it is.
No.
I don't know if it's just because they're recycling ideas from old series. I mean, that's boring for us, but even as an actor, like...
Yeah, but, like, when you... I mean, you say boring for us, yeah, but, like you just said, it's been done a few times, and, like, in the previous series, like, everyone's done it differently and, like, in a way that is entertaining, whereas this just doesn't feel it. Like, it's just not there. So you might be right. It might be a combination of everything on their front.
The more we watch this season in particular, I think, the more I feel like this series shouldn't have been made, or it should have had a break.
Yeah.
Because going straight into this from Voyager, like, they needed more time to develop this series, I think.
I agree.
Or they just needed to have a proper break and just not do anything.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah.
Because, this doesn't add to the... I don't feel like this adds to the world of Star Trek. And just like, all of this stuff is before anything else, and I get that. I get that they're trying to add to that time period.
Yeah.
But they're not telling us anything new.
No, that's exactly right. They're not doing it in a new way either. Like, it's just
okay, you don't have the technology that they had in the other series to combat this, but that should be less boring, but it's not. It's There's this series is just dry and yeah.
And the actors really don't bring anything.
But I know that I enjoyed season 4 a lot.
Yeah.
And season 3 had some good stuff, and like season 3, I don't remember a lot, but I know the mission, or like the overall arc for the season.
Yeah.
And I don't love that. But I think it had some good stuff. But season 4 I remember really enjoying, so I'm hoping I still enjoy it when we get to it this time. But and season 1 I thought it was more entertaining than this season. This season seems to have been in decline in quality.
Yeah, it just seems to be really missing everything.
Something important is missing this season.
Yeah, it's really missing the mark completely. Like, I'm not enjoying it at all. I'm really regretting watching it.
We're coming up to some episodes I kind of remember that were pretty good. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it feels to me like this is why I haven't watched it. Like the only Star Trek I haven't watched is this, and like it's just making me go, this is why I have not watched it. Like it is hard to watch these people trying to do Star Trek. Like it's what it feels like. Which has been my argument every time I've had the discussion with someone. They're like, why haven't you watched it? I'm like, because I can't watch these people doing this because they're just not good enough. They make me feel bad.
I don't think it's them. I don't think it's the actors.
No, I don't think it's just them, but
I think the most of the actors do a decent job. I just don't think they've been given much to work with.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of everything.
It's all of it. It's just I think it's the setting. I think setting this series in the time period that they did, I think they thought it was going to give them this new vision or this new
adventure.
Something. And it actually did the opposite to what I think they were hoping it would do. Because it's just dull.
It is.
It's just like it's dead, Jim.
That's exactly right.
Anyway.
Well, on that exciting note,
we said we were going to do this podcast and we were going to do it chronologically, and we said we were going to do it, and we will keep going, and we will get through Enterprise, and then we will get to better stuff. But it's a struggle at the moment. And you Trekkies out there that are listening, I would love to know if you think that Enterprise if you agree with us, if you think that Enterprise is a redundant series, or whether maybe you love it. Maybe this was the first Star Trek you ever watched and you really love Enterprise and you don't understand why we're so critical. But if you want to tell us, like, please reach out, because
we're happy to have the discussion and the argument.
All right, let's get into it then.
Okie dokie.
All right, we open on the bridge. There is a ship coming in. It's traveling at warp 6. It's quite large, but they don't know what it is. It appears, and they put it up on the screen, and I said to you, it looks like the UFO from Independence Day.
Like exactly like the one from Independence Day.
They try to hail it. There's no response. Hoshi says that she's not even detecting a transceiver on board their ship. It gains on the Enterprise, and then it sort of opens up this door, this mouth, and engulfs the Enterprise. It eats the Enterprise.
Swallows it whole.
Then we skip the credits.
Thank fuck. Although you were slow on that one.
I was a bit slow. I didn't know where I put the remote.
2 lines, Gary. 2 lines. Too many.
Sorry. We come back. There's a tactical alert. Reed says the weapons aren't charging. They've gone offline. Trip calls up from engineering and says that the engines are offline. Archer says warp or impulse. Both. The only thing that's really properly operational is life support, I think. And
the shuttles.
And there is power. It's not like power's gone offline or anything. But Archer asks if there's any biosigns outside, out in the other ship. And T'Pol says none that she can detect. Archer asks Travis to rotate the dorsal camera, which is interesting. They tilt the camera and zoom in on bits of things, and there's wispy vapors flying around inside this big open space, this big hull of a ship, this big empty void of a ship.
It's huge.
The atmosphere inside the ship is mostly helium with trace amounts of xenon. Archer decides to prep a shuttle pod and go out and have a look.
Because why not?
I mean, so Trip, Reed, and Archer decide to get in a shuttle pod.
Go for a trip. Why? Of all the things to do, like that's your first thought. Like you've been there for 3 seconds, literally. Nothing else to try before you get in a shuttle and go in.
And
he's already like straight onto being like thinking they're aggressive too, isn't he? Like,
I would feel the same way if I was on my ship and some other ship come along and ate me. I'd be like, I feel like this is a hostile move.
Shut down your engines, shut down your weapons. It swallowed
and
me
then
whole.
Consumed you. You would be like,
this might be this could be an attack.
Exactly. Exactly.
I probably wouldn't jump to that conclusion when I haven't been hurt, but sure.
But your ship has been hurt.
Well, it's not damaged. It's just not. I can't
But you
defend
can't-
myself, I suppose.
Or escape. I would think it was hostile as well. Anyway, the shuttle pod leaves the Enterprise. They fly on down to the floor of this ship.
Yeah,
And they go for a bit of a walk.
in suits.
Reed says that the atmosphere is changing, that it's now 76% nitrogen, 21% oxygen. So they're changing the atmosphere so that it's breathable for the crew,
For the humans.
for the humans. And that the temperature is 18 degrees. Florida in November, Trip says. They don't take off their spacesuits though,
No.
because fuck those guys.
Thanks for making the change, but you can get stuff.
No. They keep walking, and there's more wisps or vapors or whatever you want to call them. Oh, I've got the
I
vapors.
was just about to do that. I was going, oh, I got the vapors. You bet me to it. And a cat, but not brothers at all.
Not at all. They look up at Enterprise, and the ship is surrounded by these things.
Yeah.
And Reed says that they're not reading anything on the tricorder. It's like they're not there.
Lots of blue light floating around everywhere.
They kind of talk
They've
about...
got to be alive because they're moving and all that sort of shit.
Yeah, they're moving and they modified the atmosphere.
Yeah, so who's
they
doing
have to
that?
be. They
Has
have
to
to be alive,
Yeah.
despite what the tricorder says.
Yeah.
One of the little blue wisps comes up to Trip, goes into his forehead, and then
Comes out
leaves
of his
again,
forehead.
but it's yellow.
Yeah.
And Archer asks Trip if he's okay. He just sort of stands there and stares into oblivion for a minute and looks at Archer with a blank face. And then the yellow wisp comes back and the blue wisp comes out. Trip says, "What the hell happened?" And Archer says, "That's what I was going to ask you." And he says that he was up on the ceiling with those things. He was looking down at the three of us, but not with my eyes. And he was also at Tarpon Springs swimming with Lisa, his girlfriend, apparently.
Yeah.
Have we heard about Lisa before?
We heard about someone in like
he said he had a
season-
girl
Yeah,
back
in-
home or something.
Yeah,
right?
like in
Okay.
season 1, like
Right.
someone I can't remember the name. It's obviously Lisa. I'm going to go with.
I guess.
But
I
we
mean,
ha-
it gets mentioned that little that
Yeah.
I've forgotten all about it.
That's right, and I don't think were they still together. Like I don't know whether that
I
even.
feel like there was a breakup.
Yeah, I feel like there was an actual end. Like I don't think they're still together or anything.
So ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't matter.
No,
it's not like
it's-
she shows up.
So it's not like it's an important. She's an important character.
No, that's right.
Fucking
So anyway, he says he was there swimming with her. She was afraid it was getting too dark. And then Reed says, "It sounds like you were dreaming, Commander." And he says, "I know the difference between a dream and something real happening." And
Does
Archer
he?
says, "We're 150 light years off from Earth, Trip." And he says, "I'm telling you, I was there."
sure you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just ducked over for a little swim and come back.
Exactly. We cut to the decon chamber. Trip's in decon. Archer, Reed, and Phlox are standing outside the viewing window.
Yeah, that's it. You got to watch people in those decons.
You gonna rub that ointment in? Yeah, you rub that ointment in.
Get every crack.
Phlox says he's not detecting any parasites or life forms or wisps of smoke. He seems in perfect working order. Phlox says that it's a common hallucination returning to a familiar place. Then Trip notices the comm was off.
Yeah.
You three talking about me? Yes, we are actually.
Pretty much.
The Phlox says that he's free to go. He walks out into the locker room where everyone else is, getting changed back into their uniforms. Archer tells Trip to go and get the engines back online and to let him know if he takes another trip to Tarpon Beach. And Trip goes, "Tarpon Springs. I'll keep
Sure.
you posted."
Yeah.
Trip leaves and he tells Reed to get the weapons back online too. Like, what else was he going to do?
Yeah,
That's
I
his
mean,
fucking job.
That's it. That's his job and his life's calling. Apparently, it's what he loves to do.
We cut to the ready room. Archer's staring out the window. T'Pol comes in, and Archer says, "It's like we're in the belly of the beast." Okay. Yep.
Sure.
T'Pol says we have no reason to believe their motives are hostile.
Exactly. Exactly.
They're holding my ship hostage. We don't know that. We don't? Look out there. Do you see any stars? Our engines are offline. Our weapons seems kind of hostile to me.
Does it?
I suppose it depends on how you look at it.
Exactly. I agree with her. Nothing threatening.
She says that Ensign Sato is trying to communicate with them, but nothing has worked yet, and that some of the crew are concerned, but mostly calm. Archer seems resolved to get the Enterprise outside of this ship, so he's like, I've got to get the crew out. We cut to engineering. Trips at the warp core trying to get the engines back online, and a blue wisp enters and a yellow one leaves. Another crewman, Rostov? Yep.
Yeah.
Comes over and says that he tried to reinitialize the plasma flow, but the power grid isn't charging. And Trip just stands there. Like, okay.
Sure.
And Rostov is like, are you okay? Do you need something? Can I get you something? He's like, I'm fine. And then says, goodbye, sir, and walks through a hatch and out of engineering. Rostov goes straight to the comm to dob him in.
Yeah, that's it.
Like,
I might
Rostov
get a promotion.
Archer. I think there's something wrong with Commander Tucker. What do you mean? He seemed to think I was his superior officer.
Yeah.
He tells Archer that Trip left engineering and doesn't know where he's going. So he asks T'Pol to scan the ship to try to find him, I guess.
Yeah.
We cut to the mess hall. Trip is sitting at a table full of food.
Yeah.
Archer, T'Pol, and Reed enter. And Archer walks over and goes, Commander. And Trip goes, Commander Charles Tucker III. Archer says, are you hungry? Hungry?
Yeah.
Yes, it's all very good. Have you ever tried this?
Holds up a slice of bread.
It's called bread.
Now, I've got to be fair. That food looked pretty good.
Did it?
Yeah. Like that, like dessert thing he was eating, like the caramel and cream, and that looked pretty yummy.
Okay.
I would eat that.
Okay. If you say so. So clearly Trip's been inhabited by one of these wisps. He says that Trip's consciousness is off exploring a different realm of existence, and that will be back, and that his people are explorers that live in subspace. They used to be corporeal, but they've evolved. So inhabiting these bodies gives them an opportunity to study what their ancestors were like. They're just kind of fascinated by it all. Interested to learn what corporeal beings do and how they work.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Archer's straight away like, I want my crewmen back and I want my ship released.
Get the fuck out of my stuff.
I don't give a fuck what you think.
Yeah.
Give me my fucking ship. Give me my fucking crew.
Yeah. Just fuck off already.
And then we see through the porthole that the ship is moving. So they're spitting the Enterprise out.
Yeah. The instant he said, release my ship and my crew member, the ship
They
started
do
moving.
it. Yeah, they
instantly.
do it. Yeah. And Trip says to the thing inside Trip, says to the captain, you claim to be an explorer, Captain. Open your mind to new possibilities. Then Trip's consciousness comes back. They swap back.
Doing exactly what was asked straight away.
Exactly what was asked. Trip says, wow. Archer says, wow, what? And Trip says that he was riding along Hopalong Cassidy, chasing some bad guys.
Sure.
I don't know what that is.
No, I'm assuming it's some cowboy thing.
I guess. And then I was with Lisa again, except this time we were snow sailing in New Zealand. Then I was 8 years old, maybe 9, picking up leaves with my dad. But it wasn't a dream, Captain. It's as real as me sitting here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he says that he was having all those experiences at the same time that he was with the other aliens, and that it's really hard to explain, but that they said that anyone on the crew can try it out and just try see what it's like, so that they can swap bodies for a little while.
Yeah, why not?
Archer sends Trip to sickbay to make sure that he's okay, and Trip's like, I'm fine. It's like, we'll let the doctor decide if you're fine.
Yeah, that's right. Might want to actually get seen before that. Like it's a new thing. Might want to make sure you're not going to have a brain hemorrhage or something.
So everyone leaves except Archer and T'Pol, and Archer says something smells funny.
Sorry, Captain, I farted.
T'Pol says, they've done everything you've asked. Like, maybe they're just telling the truth.
Yeah, well...
Why are you such a suspicious cunt?
Yeah, well, that's exactly
Asshole.
right. You're an explorer. Like, you know, they haven't given you any reason really to think that they're,
Telling
at this
the-
point, that they're telling any lies,
Yep.
that they're doing anything wrong. They haven't attacked you. They haven't done anything like that. They've just taken over one guy who's communicating with you. And the instant you said, you know, can you release my ship and my crew member? They went, yeah, sure. Here you go.
Exactly. Exactly. We cut to the ready room. There's a Captain Starlog, and he says that Trip has been given a clean bill of health, but his primary concern is to get Enterprise away from this ship.
Because he's a racist.
He says that Trip tells him that it'll be a while before he can get the engines online, and that non-corporeal beings are a first for Starfleet. And T'Pol thinks that they just want to get to know us, and maybe she's right. Maybe I don't trust them because they're so different. I'd hate to think that was the case. Then don't.
That's it. Exactly.
Like, there's literally no evidence that they're doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Yeah.
I guess trust your instincts because he's right.
Yes, he is, but... yes.
But anyway.
And we all knew he was going to be, but that's...
Of course.
But that's not the point.
No.
You got to give people...
He does come across as really judgy.
He does. Like, and that's the point more than anything, is that you haven't had a reason. Like, you can't just go around doing that, can you? And just,
No.
you know, yeah.
The doorbell rings, and it's Phlox, who says that one of the wisps appeared in sickbay a few minutes ago and tried to enter his mind, tried to go through his head, but his physiology must not be compatible, and it left pretty much straight away. And he says that he's fine, but it was disturbing, and that he felt that the life form was trying very hard to reach him. We cut to the armory. Reed is in there by himself, and he spots a reflection of a blue wisp behind him. He runs off and he grabs a gun and he tries to shoot at it. He tries to shoot at Vapor.
Yeah. That'll do it.
I don't know what phases are going to do to a non-corporeal being, but anyway, he shoots at it.
Yeah, sure.
And it actually hits the wall behind the entity and does no damage or anything to the wall. So, shitty phases.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's it.
He runs out of the room. He's trying to get away from the wisp, but it catches him in the corridor, and a woman walks past, and he's now possessed by this thing, and he stares at this woman like a predator.
Like, he certainly got possessed by the horniest fucking wisp out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Because he follows this woman into the turbo lift and is like, your gender, you are female, correct? Last time I checked, I am a male.
Me male, you female.
Yeah. She's clearly uncomfortable and fucks off at her first opportunity.
Fair enough.
And then he heads to T'Pol's quarters. He comes in and she says, is there something I can do for you? You are very beautiful. Are you aware that you are the most attractive woman on board this ship? And would you mind taking off your
That's
clothing?
it. Like, strip.
I'd like to learn more about your anatomy. If we are to engage in mating, it would be easier if you disrobed. What the fuck?
Yeah.
The T'Pol calls Archer and says, could you come to my quarters with the security team, please? This bitch be cray.
Yeah. This is all going a little bit. Yeah.
The being inside Reed is like, what is it like to be a female? Is it much different?
Just go into a female and find out.
Yeah.
If you're interested.
Yep.
Like, what are you asking for?
Yep. This is when Reed refers to the possession as the crossing. If you allow the crossing, you'd find out. And yeah, he says if you came to us, you could experience what it's like to be male. Wouldn't that be helpful to you? And T'Pol's like, I've never thought about it.
Yeah.
Like, why would it be helpful? What
Helpful
difference
in
does it
what?
make?
Like what?
Exactly.
So I'm doing a study on sexuality, and that would help me in the study. No, I'm
Sure.
not. I'm just fucking here.
Uh-huh. Ridiculous. It's weird.
It's just so stupid.
Anyway.
It was an unnecessary scene. Just dumb.
Archer and the security team show up. T'Pol's like, this isn't Lieutenant Reed.
No shit.
Okay, maybe not quite so dramatic because she's a Vulcan.
Yeah.
And he says, this is enough! Humans don't like doing things without their consent. When are you planning to return, Malcolm Reed? Not quite so hammy, but almost.
No, almost. Yeah. Wasn't far off.
Oh, funny. Anyway, Archer sends Reed off with the security team to lock him in his quarters. We're in engineering with Trip, and Archer comes over the comm and says that they've got Malcolm. I need the ship ready to go on my command, and tells Trip that he's locked Malcolm up and says, get it done, Trip. Get her done. Trip orders some people to do some stuff, and then the person he ordered gets taken over by one of the aliens as well.
He's like, Commander.
So lock him up as well. Yeah. We cut to the bridge. Archer's on the bridge and says, Hoshi, get a security team to engineering. We need to get that guy locked up. Hoshi says, aye, sir, Captain. We've been getting reports from all over the ship. Some of the crew are acting very strange. He says, we're going to need more than one security team. Find out who's acting strange and lock them up. Yeah. Lock up everyone. Lock them up.
Too bad if you're just not feeling well.
Yeah, exactly. And then he says that we need to start working on a way to figure out who's themselves and who's not, and gets T'Pol to work with Phlox to figure that out.
Yep.
Hoshi's starting to get paranoid. She's like, we polarized the hull plating as soon as we detected that ship and it didn't do anything. What's keeping them from taking all of us? Archer gets a call from engineering. Trip says that we've got impulse engines back. Archer tells Travis to hold position. And Hoshi says, I thought you said we needed to get out of here straight away.
Yeah,
Isn't that why he was trying to get the engines back up and running?
That's the whole fucking point.
And he says they've got Malcolm and God knows how many others. Until we find a way to get them back, we're not going anywhere.
He didn't give a fuck.
Cut to commercial.
He didn't give a fuck, and it was just Malcolm. Though he just it was like,
wow.
Yeah, that's it. We were going to leave when it was just Malcolm, but now there's like 12 other people that we care about. So we give a fuck about them.
We come back from commercial and we're in sickbay. T'Pol and Phlox have asked Archer to come down for a briefing because they didn't want to put it over the comm. That they've found a way to use a tricorder to detect if a person has been taken over by one of the wisps. So he sends them off to scan as many people as possible and lock them up.
Yeah.
If you find someone, lock them up.
You aren't one of us. You are going to be locked up.
We cut to the bridge and Trip calls up to Travis and says that he's a little short-handed and that he would like Travis to go to the starboard nacelle to repolarize the warp coils. And Travis says, sure thing, happy to.
Yep.
Trip says, call me when you get to the catwalk. We cut to the mess hall and T'Pol and Phlox are sitting at a table having a drink while there's heaps of crew around eating and talking and whatever else. And T'Pol has a tricorder out scanning and says that there's two people here. There's two here. And Phlox says, oh yeah, Ensign Cole and Crewman Rossi. And T'Pol walks out, gets some security people, and the security people go into the mess hall. Cut to Travis in the hallway heading to the catwalk. Yep. And there's a wisp that shows up and tries to follow him, and he runs up the stairs and closes the hatch
and stuff. Yeah,
and he gets into the catwalk and
closes the last hatch,
closes the second hatch, and it doesn't come through.
Yeah,
so he calls the bridge and says that one of these things just followed me up the starboard strut, but when I got into the catwalk, it didn't come through. So there must be something keeping it from getting in here. So Archer tells him to stay put and then calls through to Trip at engineering and says, is there some kind of shielding in the nacelles that might stop the aliens from getting through? And he says that the catwalks are reinforced with osmium alloy, but it's hard to say if that would do it. And Archer says that Travis thinks it will. Or Travis
told you it
does.
Yeah.
He doesn't think it will. He has just told you it's happened.
Yeah. He's told you it's actually worked at keeping one out.
So Archer says you need to stop whatever you're doing and transfer all command functions to the starboard catwalk, and we're going to get everyone in there again.
Again.
Well, he doesn't say again. He
No.
just says get everyone in there.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking you built the catwalk set and now you have to use it.
That's right. You need to justify the expense. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And like, how does he not know what the shielding on the catwalk is after 2 weeks ago when they used it before?
Well, I think it was a bit more than 2 weeks ago.
But still, like, he would have a pretty good understanding of the shielding on the catwalk.
Well, you know it's going to be different because it was the only place they could stay safe from the storm that they were up there for in the first place.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's going to be different shielding.
Yeah, it's going to be a different shielding that might keep him out, but he would have a good understanding on what kind of shielding is on the nacelle. Are you telling me the captain wouldn't have like learned everything he could about the nacelle when he was being kept out of like safe out of the storm? He would know. Like,
you would think. You would think he would. Anyway, so we're on the bridge, and Archer asks Hoshi to work with T'Pol to get the crew up to the catwalk as quickly as he can. And Hoshi clearly has been taken over by one of the wisps and says it would be best if they stayed where they were. We're offering them a great opportunity. They may never get another chance to experience existence as we do.
well, she's not wrong about that. They might not.
Nope. And then he calls security, and then he like shakes her a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
You're taking over my crew! Why? I understand how you may be frightened by all this, losing your substance, existing as perceptive energy, but you'll be grateful once you've made the crossing, I promise you. We're kind of fond of our substance. We're not very anxious to give it up.
Well, he might not. He could ask for volunteers.
Yeah, he could. The security guards show up, and he gets them to escort her to her quarters and lock her up. Lock her up!
Yep.
We cut to the catwalk. People are setting up like last time. Lights are on. There's 58 people in there, including T'Pol and Archer. And there's 24 people outside locked in their quarters. And Dr. Phlox is wandering around because he's impervious.
Yeah.
T'Pol says that we need to learn more about these life forms and what their intentions are. Archer asks if she's got something in mind, and she says that she would like permission to leave the catwalk because she believes that her Vulcan mind is more disciplined and will be able to fight off an invasion of one of these life forms. But if they try, there might be a period where they're conjoined and they might be able to find out what their motives are.
Yeah, what the information is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says no, she says yes, he says no, she says yes, and then she does it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what happened. Yeah. Yeah.
We cut to sick bay. Phlox gets a call from Hoshi, who says there's been an accident, that the body is injured and she doesn't know how to repair it, and that her leg is fractured. Yeah. Phlox goes to Hoshi's quarters
With a weapon.
with a gun. Yep.
Yeah.
And
it's
hails
very-
first before he opens the door and says, I'm armed. If you're near the door, step away. And the voice says, she's on the floor, she can't move. He enters, keeps the pistol pointed at her, scans from across the room and says, there's nothing the matter with you.
Well, then he takes a couple of steps forward.
Yeah.
Just
Well, as he
enough.
says that.
Yeah.
And then she jumps up. They fight, and she grabs the pistol, and she's lying on the floor. He's got one of her legs, and she says, I need to find the rest of the crew. Where are they? And Phlox has a hyper spray in his little medical bag and
Jabs her in the
jabs
leg.
her in the leg, and she goes unconscious. And he thanks the hyper spray. I'm glad I brought you along. He walks out into the corridor, and Archer calls and asks if everything's going all right, and he says, yeah, more or less. And then says that T'Pol is going to need his help.
Yep.
Then,
See her coming out now, don't we?
yes.
Yeah. So she comes out in the hallway and then gets attacked by one of the wisps.
Yep. She
And
gets
then
possessed. And then Phlox shows up. She's just standing there motionless. He's trying to get her attention, but she doesn't react. He scans her,
tries to move her.
tries to move her to get her to her quarters. And that doesn't work.
The wisp
Damn
comes out of the face. The captain's like, take her away, do all that kind of stuff. But then the wisp comes out, and she's all like in a hurry to be like, they're lying to us. They're lying. And then runs away from Phlox, and we need to talk to the captain.
It's a recipe book.
How many people do you think would get that reference?
Probably a few.
Oh, that's great.
We cut back to the catwalk command area. T'Pol's back up there and says that their ship is deteriorating, that they have no way to repair it. They can't survive in space, so they're trying to take over the corporeal beings to save themselves, basically. Yeah.
And they'll get another ship when that comes along too.
For the rest, because there's hundreds of them, but only 82 of them can exist in the 82 crew members on Enterprise. Archer tells Travis to go find Trip because we need to find a way to shield the whole ship, not just the nacelles.
Yeah.
Archer asks if T'Pol knows if they can survive in a host if the host is dead. And she says it would be no different than being exposed to space. They would die. So Archer calls to Phlox. Then we cut to Travis looking for Trip, and he's walking through all the other crew members, and they're all looking a bit panicked and worried. He asks if anyone's seen Trip, and they say no. Then we cut to Phlox, who's getting into a spacesuit. He says that we'll have to purge the carbon dioxide within 20 seconds of respiratory failure. So they're planning on knocking all the people out and then bringing them back to life.
We see Travis walking up and down the catwalk looking for Trip.
Yep, still can't find him.
Even though it's a single line up and down.
Single line up and down, can't find him anywhere. We see Phlox heading towards atmosphere control so he can do all the stuff to put the gas into the ship.
Flick the buttons, touch this, pull that, do all that crap.
5 bazillion different things he has to do, which seems a bit odd to me, but sure.
Yeah, well, it's not like Enterprise D where you just like reroute this and then you like hit one thing and it's done.
Archer and T'Pol are giving instructions to Phlox while he's adjusting all the atmosphere controls.
Yeah.
And we see Trip in the background just standing, staring, watching. They cut back and forth to Phlox and Archer while they do all this work, pulling panels off and turning things and fingering lights.
Yep. But then Trip is also, after he sees them or hears them going over what they're doing, he goes to the back of the bloody nacelle or whatever and
tries to do something, and Travis finds him and says, I've been looking for you everywhere.
Yeah.
And then he starts to walk away, and Travis tries to stop him, and then they get into a fight.
Yeah. Trip goes through the little hatch out of the nacelle.
Yep.
Yeah. And then it's back to
Phlox
doing some more shit to do whatever, and then the captain's like, what's happening? Because Trip's now escaped, and he knows that now, and then Phlox is still working on some fucking little rotating things and a handle. And so he lets Phlox know that Trip's out, and we're all like knowing what's happening, what's going to happen. So he's like, you got to speed it up now because Trip's on the loose. So Phlox just goes at the same pace he was to turn the handles and release all the stuff.
And just as he's about to do the last bit.
Exactly. Trip comes over and, stops him and knocks him out, and there's a little bit of a kerfuffle.
They fight. They fight a little bit. Phlox ends up headbutting Trip and sort of knocks him down, and then pulls the lever so that the CO2 is released. Trip leans in and sucks in all the gas and eventually passes out.
Yeah.
And then resuscitates him.
Yeah.
But he's done, like the job's done.
Yeah.
Trip comes to. Cut back to the catwalk command area. Once the gas has been fixed up, Archer orders them to go back to full impulse to go away. The alien ship pursues them a little bit, and the big mouth door thing opens again, and then they fire 2 torpedoes into it, and they destroy the ship completely. Trips wakes up and says, "What's going on, Doc?" Phlox says, "You'll be okay." And he says, "I was just at a barbecue." And then Flock says, "You'll need to follow me. We have a lot of doors to unlock." And that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, that's where it
The
cuts
end.
off.
Yeah.
Just a question about, like, you know, when she said, you know, it'd be the same as being exposed to space, they'd die.
Mm.
Weren't they, like, flying in and out of space when they were coming onto the ship to take over people? Because they kept flying
Weren't
in and out of the
they-
windows and stuff.
Was that when they were in space or inside their ship?
No, because they had, like, they came out from the mouth and then they would still fly
Oh, and then
in.
they swapped.
Yeah, then they would keep swapping.
you're
So
right.
they would still be flying in and out of space.
So they
through
can
the
survive
window.
in space.
So they can survive in space. So
Yes.
what's the problem?
No, there is no problem.
So
Bad writing, that's the problem.
yeah, exactly. So they don't need the ship.
No.
So I don't get it.
Just one of the many flaws of this episode.
Yeah. All right, good. I was just clarifying that I got that right. Yeah.
Okay. What's a life lesson in this one, Tom?
Don't trust strangers.
Well, you know, stranger danger is a thing, I guess.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm not even going to fight on this one. This episode is so. I just want this to be over with.
Yeah. Always be cautious. How's that?
Always be cautious.
Yeah, caution is always good.
All right, IMDb rating. Our examples of 1 episodes of Voyager's Threshold and Next Gen's Code of Honor. Examples of 10 episodes of Next Gen's Tapestry and Deep Space Nine's Far Beyond the Stars. With those in mind, what are we going to rate this one?
Yeah.
Now, I said before our talk through that I felt like this was an improvement on last week's episode. After we've talked through it, I'm not sure that it is.
No. What did we give last week? 2?
A 3.
3. This gets a 2.
Do you think it's worse than Kanama? Oh yeah, I suppose this was pretty bad.
This is pretty bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going
Nah.
2.
All
I
right.
don't like this one.
Well, that would put it on par with like Dawn and the Communicator. So yeah, okay,
Yeah,
we'll go with a
I
2.
didn't like it. It was not. I did not like this.
All right, 2 it is. That's this week done then.
Radio.
If you would like to tell us what you thought of The Crossing or Star Trek Enterprise in general or just Star Trek, please reach out. You can find us on Facebook at Temporal Directive Podcast and on Instagram, just Temporal Directive, or you can email us at wakefield_productions@outlook.com. We'd love to hear from you, so please reach out. We'll be back next week with the episode Judgment. Live long and prosper.
Peace and long life.